Hello everyone and welcome to another video on JavaScript programming. Kaushal this side from SimpliCode, and today we are going to discuss destructuring in JavaScript. This is a small yet useful topic in JavaScript that will help us in enhancing the readability of our code and also makes the code short and neat. So before we begin, make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel and press that bell icon to never miss an update from SimpliCode. So without any further delay, let's get started. Destructuring is used for assignment tasks in JavaScript. It allows us to unpack those values from an array or properties from an object into different variables. It might sound a little bit tricky, but trust me guys, it is one of the easiest tasks one can do in JavaScript. So let's take an example of how it works and you'll understand everything much better. So let's say we have few students present in our program. Like if we write here, let's say we have student 1, student 2 and student 3. Fine. Now these are the three students. These are basically three different variables: student 1, student 2 and student 3. Next up, we'll assign names to these students, and let's say we have more than 5 or 6 names for these students. So what we'll do is we'll write here bracket student 1 comma student 2 comma student 3 is equals to, let's say we are writing here Ravi is the name of first student. Then we have, let's say, Abdul, and we'll add one more here. We'll write here George, and let's say we have another student named as Varun, and let's say one more is Salman. Fine. So here we have 5 names. We have Ravi, Abdul, George, Varun and Salman, and we have 3 variables only: student 1, 2 and 3, right? Now if we want to access any of these student variables, we will get the name corresponding to that student. So student 1 will get Ravi, and similarly student 2 and 3 will hold Abdul and George respectively. So let's print them on the console. We'll write here console.log. We'll write console.log 3 times because we have 3 different variables. So we'll write here student 1, then we have student 2, and then finally we have student 3. Fine. Now save it and open the console on the browser. So here we are. Here we have our console, and you can see we have the output as Ravi, Abdul and George. Rest of the 2 names are not here. Either we can use 2 separate variables to print those names, like we can add here student 4 and 5 as well. But instead of that, we can also use destructuring assignment syntax to assign all the last 3 names to a single variable. What we are talking about here is the student 3 will get all the 3 names. The 3 names are George, Varun and Salman. We'll save these 3 names inside a single variable. Fine. So destructuring assignment will do this task for us. So let me give you an example and you will understand it much better. So what we'll do here is we'll write here before student 3, we'll put 3 dots over here. Fine. And we are good to go. So rest of the program will remain the same. All we have to do is to add 3 dots here before the variable, and now we'll get the remaining values inside a single variable in the form of an array. You can see here, if we save this program, you can see we have Ravi for student 1, Abdul for student 2, and for student 3 we have an array of 3 different values, right? We have George, Varun and Salman present at index 0, 1 and 2 of the array. Fine. The length of this array is 3, and we can access any particular name from this array. Like if we write here console.log student 3 and we'll pass the index number. Fine. So if we write here index 1, so it will return the value present at index 1 of this particular array. Save it, and here you can see we have Varun over here. So if we comment this piece of code and save it now, you can see here we have Varun as the value present at index 1 of the array. Fine. It's easy to understand, right? We can in fact do the same thing with arrays as well. For example, let's say we have an array of several elements. So what we'll do is we'll create an array over here. We'll comment this piece of code and we'll create a new array now. Fine. Now we'll write here, let's say const color is equals to, we have several elements present inside this array. We'll write here color names. Let's say we have red, and then we have black, green, pink, and brown. And finally, let's say we have the last color as yellow. Fine. Now we have an array of colors with 6 different colors here. Now we'll assign these colors to different car manufacturers, right? So what we'll do here is we'll use car manufacturers. Next up, we'll write here, let's say Mercedes, and we have BMW, Honda, and finally let's say we have Hyundai. Fine. Now we'll assign color here. So this is our color variable which has the values present in the form of an array. Now the color array is assigned to corresponding car manufacturers. Mercedes will be red, BMW will be black, and similarly Honda and Hyundai will be green and pink. Fine. Brown and yellow will be left out. So let's print them on the console. We'll copy this console.log from here and we'll paste them here. Fine. Now we'll write here Mercedes, and then we have BMW, Honda, and finally we have Hyundai. Fine. Now save it, and you can see here we have all the values of the array. We can assign the last 3 elements of the array to Hyundai only in the form of an array. So we have to mention the dot notation here and we'll be good to go. So you guys might be wondering why we are assigning the remaining values to the last element only. Why not the one before the last element? So let's try to do it here and you'll get the answer to this question as well. So what we'll do is we'll assign all the values to Honda. Fine. Save it, and you can see an error message over here on the console. It says rest element must be last element. It means that JavaScript will not allow us to assign the values to any other element other than the last element. Now what we'll do is we'll assign the values to the last element again. So we'll remove these dot notation from here and we'll put them here before Hyundai because Hyundai is the last element, right? Now save it, and here you can see we have red for Mercedes, black for BMW, green for Honda, and for Hyundai we have 3 different values. We have pink, we have brown, and we have yellow. Fine. Now we can also use destructuring for swapping variables in JavaScript. The easiest way to swap the value of 2 variables, we can say. So why easiest? We'll see it in a moment. So swapping means swapping the values of 2 different variables, right? So let's say if we have a variable a and the value of a is 10, and we have another variable b and the value of b is 20. Fine. Now swapping refers to the value of a will be changed to 20 and the value of b will be changed to 10. So how to achieve this in JavaScript? We have different methods to do this, but for now we'll be using the destructuring assignment syntax. So what we'll do here is we'll comment this piece of code as well. Now we'll write here let a is equals to 10, and we have another variable let b is equals to 20. Fine. Now what we'll do here is we'll write here a comma b is equals to b comma a. Fine. Now we'll print both the variables on our console. We'll write here console.log a and then console.log b. Fine. Now we are good to go. Save it, and you can see here the value of a is 20 now and the value of b is 10. So initially the value of a was 10 and the value of b was 20, and the values are now swapped, right? It was simple and easy. So we can do the same thing for objects as well. For example, let's create an object over here first. We'll comment this piece of code as well so that there will be no confusion. We'll create an object. We'll write here const, let's say the object name is car, and this is the body of our object. Now we'll write here properties. So let's say the first property is manufacturer, and we have the manufacturer as Mercedes. Then we have color. The color of a car is black. We have to write here colon instead of equals. Then we have model. So let's say the model is 2012, and then finally we have a function. Fine. So we'll write here function. The function name is wheels, and we'll write something inside of this function. So let's say we are writing here console.log, and we'll write here all-wheel drive. Fine. Now here we have an object named car with several properties such as manufacturer, color, model, and a function that tells us that this car is all-wheel drive. Let's destructure this object now. So what we'll do is we'll write here const, then we have curly braces. We'll write here manufacturer, comma, color, comma, model, and then finally we have wheels. Fine. And we'll assign car to them. Fine. Now this will take corresponding values accordingly. Now what we'll do is we'll write here console.log, let's say manufacturer. So it will return Mercedes, save it, and here you can see we have the output as Mercedes. Instead of manufacturer, if we write here color, save it now, and here you can see we have the color as black. But we have to mention these four variables the same as the properties, because if we write here, let's say model 2, and we are printing here model 2, now save it, and here you can see it says undefined for model 2. We have to write here model only. Fine. Save it now, and here you can see that we have the model as 2012. Now we can access any of the properties of this object. We can even call this wheel function from the outside. So just write here wheels. We are calling this function. Save it, and here you can see we have the output as all-wheel drive on the console. So guys, this is how we can use destructuring in JavaScript. I hope you guys got it. The concept is easy and small, yet very useful. So that's all for this video guys. See you in the next one, where we will go through drag and drop elements in JavaScript. If you liked this video, do give it a thumbs up. If you have any doubts, do let us know in the comments below. Share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe SimpliCode. Thank you.